Welcome back to First Take. And what was predicted yesterday came to fruition. Kyler Murray is now a Minnesota Viking. Murray was in Minnesota yesterday meeting with the Vikings. It appears they never let him leave the building, with the two sides agreeing to a one-year deal. Murray only played the first 5 games with the Cardinals last season after being forced to sit with that foot injury. Here's Murray on playing for Kevin O'Connell.
I don't want to put any limitation on what that looks like. Again, I know he's had tremendous amount of success with multiple different quarterbacks. I know what my skill set brings to the game. I know what I'm capable of, and I think that, again, like I said, I'm ready to come in and compete, and I can't wait to be under his tutelage and, like I said, get to go to war with not only Jets but him too.
I'm not alone anymore. Mike Tannenbaum, Damian Woody, Joe Fortenbaugh are here in studio with me. Let's talk a little bit of football. Let's assume here that Kyler Murray is the Week 1 starter for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy still on that roster, was the starter last year. What is the ceiling for the Vikings in a very competitive division? Joe, we'll go around the horn. Joe?
NFC Championship game. I think we're still dealing with Kyler Murray, so I don't know if he's the guy that's going to put you over the top to get you to the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't rule out making it that far. Kevin O'Connell has done an extraordinary job since he's been the head coach of the Vikings. He's made it work with several different quarterbacks. McCarthy's not working, which is why they've made this pivot. Defensively, they can get after you. The division's tough, but I think there's reason to see some flaws in the other opponents. What I like the most about the move with Murray is the fact that prior to his stint in Arizona, it had been nothing but success for him in his sports career. All right, he was 42-0 at Allen High in Texas. He was the 2-time Mr. Texas football player. That had never happened before. Gatorade Player of the Year. He goes on to win a Heisman Trophy. He's drafted 9th overall by the Oakland A's. Keep that in mind. Major League Baseball wanted him too, and then number 1 overall in football. Nothing but success until the Cardinals. That was a failure. That's the reckoning moment where maybe you look in the mirror and you think, all right, it's time to reboot and get back to all the winning and success we had, and I think that's why Minnesota's going to end up getting the best version of them.
Joe, I see your NFC Championship game, and I'm going to raise you the Super Bowl, and let me tell you why.
Okay, now we're being ridiculous.
Okay, Shay, you may want to take some copious notes here.
Oh, please, I will.
Okay, all right, here we go. They won 9 games last year with absolute horrendous quarterback play. Max Brosmer, Carson Wentz, and J.J. McCarthy had more interceptions than touchdowns. If they could keep Jonathan Grenard, get a running back, this is a team that has as much talent as anybody. And to Joe's point, no one's ever going to question Kyler Murray's ability. You know, in his career, he has 121 touchdowns. I went back last night, watched his film from last year. He can make all the throws with a firm pocket. He can obviously make plays with his legs outside the pocket. So to me, this is a extremely high ceiling team. If Kyler Murray plays even 80-85% of his ability, because again, this was a team that won 9 games really with like very below average quarterback play. So I'm really excited to see the combination of the two. And we talked about this earlier. When you have no franchise tag on a 1-year deal, dealt with adversity for the first time, I don't think there's going to be a player in the NFL at 29 years old who doesn't see a better future for himself than Kyler Murray. Whatever he's got, we're going to see this year.
I don't know this. Has Kyler Murray ever even won a playoff game? I don't think he has. Okay. No, I don't think he has.
But I don't know if Johnny Unitas would have won one.
Oh, Johnny Unitas?
In the last couple of years in Arizona.
They had that one where they made it to the first round under Kingsbury against the Rams, but they got rocked by McVay. They were woefully underprepared in that game. I think that was the only time he's been.
Correct. He has never won a playoff game. You're sending him to the Super Bowl?
Well, yes.
And you even are bad, too. The NFC champion?
Yeah, Joe.
We're sending Minnesota. You have to remember, we get everything that comes with Minnesota. Better coaching than he had in Arizona, a better defense than he had in Arizona, a division that's going to be as tough as he would have faced in Arizona going against the NFC West.
And there's a couple of tweaks here. Harrison Smith's going to retire. Running back's a question mark. Jonathan Grenard's a question mark. But you have Brian Flores, who's essentially the head coach of the defense, with Kevin O'Connell. And you look at the upside of what he could do if this all comes together. You can't rule out them getting to the Super Bowl.
Joe, you got to be careful. You're talking to a Chicago Bears.
Exactly.
you got to be careful
Why are you
about
so
that.
worked up?
Yeah, listen. I will say this. I think NFC Championship game is where I kind of see this Minnesota Vikings team for a lot of the reasons that you guys have laid out. Listen, I think people need to understand, like, Kyler Murray was a former number 1 overall pick. Dude is immensely, immensely talented. Obviously, we know the injuries kind of derailed him last year, but there are moments, in past seasons where Kyler Murray looked like a MVP caliber type of quarterback. Now you put Kyler Murray, the player, the dual threat Kyler Murray, into that infrastructure in Minnesota with a defense that was top 7 last year. Okay, they went 9-8. They got weapons on offense, and then obviously the coaching staff in Minnesota. If Kyler Murray can stay healthy and put it all together, that team can absolutely get to the NFC Championship game. Now, I think the Los Angeles Rams are the team to beat in the NFC. I think that the Rams, with the moves that they've made and the things they're going to continue to add, they're the team to beat in the NFC. But there's no reason why, in my opinion, the Minnesota Vikings can't come out of the NFC North and be a team that contends in that conference.
Okay. For one, I'm just taking some notes here on this. This is great.
Good.
It's great.
It's all documented.
You should have those notes. Should be like
I can't believe you're
third.
all on this. I am not taking away from the fact that I think Kyler Murray is immensely talented and he is an upgrade at quarterback. First of all, is this a competition or is this just a known thing he's going to be the starter next year?
Yeah, we talked earlier, there could be a transfer from like J.J. McCarthy going from Minnesota down to Southern California, get reunited with Jim Harbaugh. So, if I'm Minnesota, I wouldn't give up on him because he's only started 10 games, he's 23. But if they're like looking for a clean break here, the Chargers need a backup quarterback. And if you're J.J. McCarthy, why not go with the guy that you want a title with?
Minnesota, not enough is made about how humiliating last year was for them. Sam Darnold just won the Super Bowl. You had him in-house. He's a Super Bowl caliber quarterback if you put the right team around him. They let him go for a guy they drafted who was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Only 10 games, fair. Same thing happened with Darnold. He struggled early and then
let Daniel Jones go.
But that was, you let Daniel Jones go. That was humiliating for them. There is no, all right, let's be patient, let's try to figure it out. They got to snap to it. They fired their general manager in the offseason as well.
You act like it's so easy. They got to snap to it. I mean, this is a very, very competitive division that he's walking into with a completely new playbook. Now, this might be good for Kyler Murray, considering some of the narratives that have followed him throughout his career. It's a fresh start. But when you guys talk about the NFC Championship game, these are the teams we were talking about at the end. Basically, the entire NFC North, okay? So, I'm sorry, the NFC West. Rams, Seahawks, Niners, and then the Bears. Do you think the Vikings are just going to slot themselves in there?
I got a question for you. Shay, isn't it possible that the Bears are a better team in 2026 and have a worse record?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Don't you think there's a chance that they may actually be a better team but have a worse record, just given all their improbable wins?
Sure, maybe. But what are you trying to tell me there?
That's why, to me, that's one of the factors that the Vikings may surpass the Bears. And then you look at teams like Detroit and Green Bay, like they'll be very competitive with those teams as well. Like all those teams are good. All I'm saying is, going back to Joe's point, I think we underestimate how bad the quarterback play was in Minnesota. If Kyler Murray is just okay, it's going to be an improvement.
Question also was ceiling. If you ask us what's actually going to happen, he's probably not saying Super Bowl. I'm not saying NFC Championship game. Their win total in Vegas is just 8.5. They're priced as the worst team in the division.
After acquiring.
This trade did almost nothing. They were 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. It moved to 55-1. He's viewed as maybe 2.5 points better on the point spread than McCarthy. We're speaking very highly of the deal, Mike specifically because of financially. Like, how can you not love the idea of getting a guy like this for $1 million? But Vegas has barely budged on this. They do not see it as that impactful relative to what Minnesota already had.
And another thing, like Kyler Murray hasn't won a playoff game. Kevin O'Connell hasn't won a playoff game since he's been the head coach of the Vikings. Like, this is not like muscle memory, to use a phrase you use a lot for this Minnesota Vikings team. I just think there might be a little bit of growing pains here. I know he has a fantastic cast around him. The Vikings beat the Bears week 1. Like, it's not like they were blown out every week by the NFC North, So to crown them Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game just seems a little bit aggressive.
Well, the question is, like, what do we think, like, their ceiling is? I think, again, with their team and their infrastructure, plug in Kyler Murray, this is a team that could, in my opinion, could absolutely reach the NFC Championship game.
And I think another way to look at this conversation is if you rank the defenses in this division, I would put Minnesota first. Kind of draw a line, and then, Green Bay just lost Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons coming off the ACL. Detroit's had a lot of injuries on defense.
Jeff Hafley moved on.
Yeah, Jeff Hafley's moved on. And then, with Chicago, obviously, as you well know, they still need another pass rusher. So to be part of this conversation is they should have a great defense, assuming they draft a safety to replace Harrison Smith and they keep Jonathan Grenard.
They were -9 in turnover differential last year. That was tied for third worst in the NFL. Normally, that's a team that's going to win 4, maybe 5 games. Minnesota, despite the turnover problem, despite the quarterback problem, despite the tough division, despite the tough conference, was still there hovering, threatening for a playoff spot late in the season. They weren't great, but if you just get competent play at quarterback, Seattle didn't need elite play from Sam Darnold to win that Super Bowl. They needed him to be competent while the defense went out there and won it. You can get somewhere with that Minnesota defense if he can just get the ball. They didn't even get the ball to Justin Jefferson last year.
Yeah.
Like, anybody play fantasy with Justin Jefferson last year?
No.
You were thinking about sitting him. They couldn't get him the ball.
Murray, 45 total QBR against the NFC North, by the way, in his career. It's the worst against any division.
Jeez.
I was just saving that for the very end.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to pile on Kyle Murray. I just don't think we should crown again.
Your Honor, you slam the gavel as you say that.
I'll see y'all in a little bit.
Wow.